So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would now have the Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Maku, who would come forward and make his remark. Honorable Minister of Information.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State, Mr. Gabriel Suswan, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, my brother, the Honorable Minister of Interior, the Special Assistant to Mr. President on Documentation, my brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Benue State, and other members of Benue State Executive Council, the leaders and citizens of Benue State, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, as you already know, I'm in Benue State leading a strong delegation of civil society leaders, of the international and local media reporters, under the auspices of the National Good Governance Tour, to inspect projects being carried out by your administration, by the federal government, and by local governments in Benue State. Let me appreciate the reception you have given us in Benue State. And let me also appreciate the hard work by members of the Benue State Executive Council led by the Commissioner for Information, who have not rested since we came. They have led us to all the 3 senatorial districts of Benue State to inspect some of the key projects being executed by your administration, as well as projects being carried out in Benue State by the federal government. Let me appreciate members of the team who are with me. Their leaders have already made comments earlier on this program. The National Council of Women Societies, the National President of NUJ, the National President of Ratao, and civil society leaders who have spoken here. Let me appreciate them, as well as directors in the Ministry of Information, including the coordinator of this program, Mr. Jai, and the MC and several other directors who are working with me to ensure the success of this tour. But I must indeed appreciate the government and people of Benue State, because if you are not ready for us to come, we will not be here. I wish to sincerely thank you for your interest in this program, for participating in the program in all the places you visited, and also for massively attending this Citizens Forum, which is packaged as part of the program to sound out the feelings of the people about your governments at federal, state, and local government level. The interest in this forum is very important to us. Your Excellency, as you know, democracy is different from military rule. Now, people have been used to military rule for a very long time. We are used to being talked at and never speaking back. And we know that that can't lead to development. A democracy is different from dictatorship in the sense that one is elected by the people, all the leaders are elected, and those who are in position to appointment are exercising delegated authority from elected executives in a democracy. And also, democracy is about people. It is about society. It is about development. It is about welfare of the people. It's about planning their future in such a way that the next generation will inherit a better society than what we have today. And democracy also is about getting the people to participate, because leaders are simply guardians. Gabriel Suswan cannot build the roads in Benue State himself. He can't build the schools, he can't build the bridges, he can't build the hospitals. It's the people of Benue State that will build all this infrastructure. What he can do as a leader is to organize, coordinate, and give a direction. Prioritize and say, look, people of Benue State, we want to build these ABCD projects as priorities for this period. And it's the people that build. The leaders provide guidance and leadership. And so we want to emphasize that element of the people in the democracy. And that is why this program was designed by all the 3 tiers of government. This National Good Governance Talk is designed by the federal government through the Ministry of Information, Ministry of National Planning, and the Office of the Special Advisor to Mr. President on Performance Monitoring. After the design, I made the presentation before the National Economic Council to get the buy-in of all the 36 governors. When we made the presentation, let me emphasize here that Their Excellencies, the governors of all the 36 states, gave us strong support. They didn't just give support. They said we should come and sit with them to redesign the program to factor in the insights of the governors. And we met with them at the Secretariat of the Governors Forum, where a special committee of governors redesigned the program with us so that all the tiers of government will have their inputs. That one we did. It is after this that we are now testing the ground with this program. The Good Governance Law is non-partisan, Your Excellency. It is not about PDP, it is not about ACN, it is not about CPC, it is not about Labour Party, it is not about ANPP or any other political party. It is about development of Nigeria. And development has no political party. Everybody wants development. Everybody wants a good hospital no matter which party they belong. Everybody wants a good road. Everyone wants clean water supply. Everyone wants good school for their children. Their parties don't matter. All they want is the good life and security for their children. So we decided that we should suspend all our quarrels. Because we politicians, you know, everybody runs everybody down to show that it's the best for the people to elect. That's the nature of democracy. It is that partisan politicians will always say they are the best. And because we compete for power rather than staging coups, our arguments are always about discussing and saying, look, I can do it better than Mr. ABC. And because of the quarrels, the arguments that come with democracy, sometimes citizens are confused. When politicians say, this one is doing nothing, that one is doing nothing. Sometimes it is not true that people are not doing anything, but that people are looking at the next election. See, if you say this state is doing something, then it may reduce my chances of winning the election. So politics is like that. If you look at the American election now, you will imagine that Obama has not done anything in the last 4 years. That's the nature of politics. So the opposition will always say you are not doing anything, and the political party in power will say the opposition is good for nothing. That is how politics run. But unfortunately, for a young democracy like Nigeria that is just 13 years old in democratic governance for the first time, citizens get confused. So in the last couple of years, what we have seen on the pages of our newspapers, on television and radio, has been arguments between politicians, attacks by one political leader against the other, by one party against the other, communal problems and so on. And people are getting disillusioned. So we decided that we can, for the first time, suspend partisanship and face the question of development. Let's go around and see what we are doing. And the purpose also is to ensure accountability and transparency. Because this will enable us to have a peer review mechanism from state to state and between the federal government and state governments. The mere fact that we are going around means that every governor, every local government chairman, every minister that is serving at the federal level has to come and justify why they are serving those positions by telling the people what they have done. This will help everyone to sit up and do their job, and they will also achieve accountability. Because as we go, we look at those things that are working and those things that are not quite working and speak frankly about them. This is not a cover-up. This is not a charade. This is not a grabbing trend. No. This is serious business about discussing progress, challenges, and talking frankly about them so that we can help build in insights for the next phase of the the program of development at various levels of government. So, we are in Benue State. This is our third day here. And Benue is special because we know Benue is very strategic to national unity because of its natural. It falls along the belt that keeps the country together. The second thing is Benue is very strategic to food security because Benue, along with other states in the north central, provide much of the food that feed Nigerians across the country. In addition to this, Benue has been very strategic in the politics of our country. During the Civil War, there is no family in Benue State that didn't lose somebody in that war to keep Nigeria together. And it's across most of North Central Nigeria. So Benue falls across states that have made sacrifices for the unity of Nigeria. We also remember Benue because it has also produced strong leaders for Nigeria in several fields. I would like here to say that this is the home of J.S. Taka, who was a strong leader in the North Central and the Middle Belt. Benue also has produced quite a number of good leaders. You have produced the highest number of Senate presidents, for example, in the country. And Benue is also the home of the current Senate President, Distinguished Senator David Mack. Over and above all, Benue is being led today by a young and vibrant leader. You have always brought young people to lead your state, and we're impressed by this because this one was among the young leaders today, and has always been like that. Taka was about 24 when he was leading this area. So this mix of leaders and possibilities in Benue have always interested the rest of Nigeria. And that's why when we come to Benue, we are with serious mind to discuss progress. So in the last 3 days, what have we seen? I will first discuss the progress by the state government because the state is closer to you. The federal government, no matter what we do, the direct impact of the daily life of people must come from the state government and local governments, which is the reality. The federal government is up there, the state is with you on a daily basis. So what have we seen? At the level of the state government, as we have heard from representatives of civil society and media groups, we have seen a government in place that has a clear vision about what it wants to take Benue State, which is most important. The second thing is we have also tried to see what this government is doing. And we have seen remarkable progress in key areas in Benue State. And I'll try to mention them so that the people of the state can contradict, can agree, and so on. Now, one thing we saw is that the present government in Benue State is interested in the road network for the state. We saw those roads in Maku here. And the roads we inspected in Maku, which is the state capital, are well built. We are happy with the quality of the road. There's one thing to build the road and the one that will last. So we've seen some good roads here. In addition to this, we have also seen some network of roads outside Maku. Particularly, for example, we inspect all the roads, but there was this road at Dipo, Ekyog, and Jako Road, which is about 60 kilometers from Kwande, running, taking off from Kwande, I think, northeastwards. And we saw that road, a good road, and we believe that those type of network of rural roads have the capacity to promote development at that level. We also saw Otopo and Bomale Road. Work is not going on right now, but some level of work has been done. And the contractors say they are waiting for the rest and see in order to return to work. And Bomale is important to me. The governor will not know. My former vice chancellor in the University of Jos, Professor Chapa Onasi, comes from Bomale. And I know that for him and God, that for God and him, I may never have graduated. Because at that time, God was looking for me to expect from school because of my very strong union activity in the university. He was a very, very strong leader, and in spite of all the persuasion of the military regime at that time to expel me from school, he saved my career. And if it was like just any of those bachelor students, those days that were just doing the whims and caprices of others from above, I definitely would have been expelled from the University of Jos. And the story are quite different from the one that I'm seeing today. So I continue to appreciate you for being strong. When young people disagree, it does not mean that they will not be good future leaders. But because they believe that they have another angle to life. And so I believe that that road to Kumala, I'm interested in it, Your Excellency. For Professor Nancy to drive home and be happy in his old age, that those he trained are still relevant today. Now, so in other words, we have seen that this government here is interested in road construction. And Benue is a rural state. The only way you can open it up is to build roads. The Romans said that civilization follows the road. That's why the Romans say they can build roads in all the empire they went. Wherever you take a good road to, development will go there. So road is very, very strategic, especially for rural states like Benue. So I've seen that evidence, and I'm urging you not, of course, even if you stay for 8, 10, 15 years, you can't build all the roads in Benue, but build as many roads as possible before you go. So that the people of Benue State definitely be happy with you, and when you come back in retirement, you will see the gratitude. Oh, this person was the one who made it possible for you to come to my area. People never forget this type of projects. It will follow you even after you have left office. Now, we also saw as evidence of the commitment of the present government in Benue State the issue of clean water supply to citizens. And, when you supply clean water, you have increased the lifespan of your citizens, you have brought down the bill, the medical bill, drastically. Because most of the problems we have, in health have to do with clean water, unavailability of clean water. And it will be very tragic for Benue sitting by the river, not to have water to drink. It will remind me of Chinachebe's no longer at this. He said, water everywhere, but no drop to drink. He was telling the story of a young man going abroad, traveling by the ocean. So Benue River, which is in fact now on itself overflowing its banks to show its strength, must be translated to drinking water for the people of Benue State. And I have seen evidence, because the Greater Maku Water Works, which we inspected, is a very visionary project. And from the report by our Commissioner for Water Resources, that Greater Maku Water Project envisages that in the next 40 to 50 years, the body of water treated in that dam should be sufficient for Makurdi and its environs. Now that's the kind of project we want. Not a project that you build today, the next day you are thinking of doing another thing. You see, why Europeans have beaten us to this game of development is that they think far ahead, they don't think backwards. That's why you go to Heathrow, you see a new airport. So you come to our areas, you see that we never thought that airports would be big. Now we're planning to do so. So I think the water works in Makurdi is very, very good. And we also went to Otobi Water Works. Is that the name? We went to Otobi Water Works in Benue South Senatorial District. Now, Otobi was very attractive to us. It is a small, medium-sized water works. But it was well built, and we went through its treatment plant. Well built, the water was very clean, and it's the kind of project that you can replicate, in several places. We understand that there was also a similar project at Katina Ala. We were supposed to go there, but unfortunately, we were overstretched by the time we were leaving one day. So it was already not, so we couldn't visit it. But we used Otobi to assess if it's a replicant of what we saw at Otobi. Then it will appear to us that these are two good rural water projects that can serve local government headquarters. Now, these are they look very simple to you, but they change life of people. And I think that the question of water supply should never be taken for granted. Without water, you can't have an industry, you can't have life. And in Africa, we have had this problem of inadequate water supply. And this must be addressed. We have seen evidence that you are looking in this direction. We will urge you to continue to do so, particularly to give the people of Benue who are by the river the water they need for industry, for agriculture, and for human consumption. Now, we also saw quite a number of projects, but I would like to mention the University of Maku, Benue State University Teaching Hospital in the area of health. We saw the structure, which was recently commissioned by Mr. President. Let me say, Your Excellency, that it was impressive. It's very, very impressive. The Chief Medical Director led us into the hospital to also see some of the equipment. We went to the endoscopy department, and the CMD said he himself, that's his area, internal medicine. This is one area of specialization. So we have made sure that the endoscopy department is well equipped with modern facilities to detect cancers and all illnesses that are internal to man. We also went to the arena units, which deals with cases of kidney failure. And we saw patients, and we saw that it was also supplied with modern equipment, and people were very, very happy. And patients were being treated. Now, the Benue State University, for me, the greatest investment our governments have made here. Benue, within the north, is in the forefront of scholarship and intellectual development. I'm saying so because I know you have a strong base here. And investing in education, building that university, of course, it's not one man's idea. Institutions, everybody will come and put his own stamp on it. Very, very instructive, and it's something that we were very, very happy when we arrived here. We also visited the General Hospital at Kwande, which is being renovated. We were very, very happy with the progress of work. We were told that we are also renovating quite a number of general hospitals across the state. So we went there, we saw the work being done. Health is crucial to people. You know, if you can provide health, give your people good health, you will have. If citizens are not healthy, you can't develop the state. So they have to be healthy for you to develop the state. Making medical services accessible to people is very, very crucial. A healthy citizen is the foundation for development, because you first have to develop the human being and keep him happy, keep him healthy or her healthy, and then the next dream, any dream you have, can be brought to fruition, because it has to come to human beings. So we are happy with the progress in that area. Now, we were unable to see other projects in education. We couldn't go to primary schools, we couldn't go to secondary schools. Because we may stay here for long, we won't be able to see all the projects. But let me advise you that the most important foundation for education, for me, is primary education. And I want to see that, I want to proclaim here, Your Excellency, that when we talk of primary education, it's not the elitist private schools for our children who are elites. No. That cannot be used as an assessment for good primary education. Good primary education must be the public school. There is no alternative to public education until our public primary schools can compete with those private schools that will take our children to. Our society will never develop. All of us who are seated in this world, 99% of us, we went to public schools. We went to public schools. We went from food without shoes to public primary school. Is it not true? So therefore, we cannot cross over and forget the masses. So the public school is my #1 assessment for seeing whether a local government chairman is serious, whether the state government is serious. Because God can use anybody. Those children that you see on the street, that is how we react. So we therefore believe that as you make this big program, I know you will tell your story about what you are doing. I'm saying we couldn't go there. I'm not saying you have not done anything there. I'm sure you are going to speak to your people about what you have done. Unfortunately, we didn't reach there. But we use primary education as an assessment of whether a state is prepared to move forward or not. The problem we're having at the university level is replicated from primary and secondary schools. So once we can give our people sound education at the primary school level, at secondary school level, you can forget university, we just go there naturally. So we are praying that that vision will not die, particularly in a state like Benue, you know, which is strategic for education. It's very, very important for us. Now, in agriculture, also, we didn't go to our key projects in agriculture, but we saw one evidence of strategic thinking, which is the Teragro fruit processing plant that we visited here in Benue. Now, I'll give you a reason why strategic thinking. In Benue, here, fruits are wasted every year. Most of their farmers lose their fruits 1-2 months after harvest because they can't keep them. There is no place to store them. And I believe that for Benue, you must have a network of processing plants for sesame seed, for fruits, for yam, to be processed into flour, because these are strategic crops that you produce. And if by doing that, you will encourage farmers. Now, every grower of oranges or mangoes in Benue, because that factory is there, you can plant more, because you know that you're not going to lose anything. And with the income you get, you will energize your family, supporting children's education, and healthy living. So I believe that that factory we saw, we understood it belongs to the state government, but it's being run on concession. You know, PPP plan with the company that was there. It's a very good plant, and we will encourage you to do so for other. Apart from doing things like that, each time I was traveling through my body, I was seeing some flour mills, you know, across close to Alende also on the right. Now, there is a need for us to take agriculture seriously. Yesterday, I was in the University of Agriculture. By the way, you have a university here, so there's no reason for agriculture to fail. You have the experts, and you have the land, and you have the farmers. So, what we require is to continue to encourage this process. And agriculture is number one. Because every day we go to, as you know, the governors go to the allocation committee and quarrel about allocation. There is no amount of money that will come from federal government that can develop any state sufficiently. Every state must create the capacity to stand on its own. And here, agriculture is the rule. We were children during Sadana, but we saw that our parents were building the granite pyramids, doing the heights and scale, and the North was developing and building universities and schools without oil money. Anybody that is still looking at oil money for salvation is making a great mistake. We must return to agriculture and develop our own mental capacities to get our people to develop our states. So we saw the project in agriculture, and we need more of that in Benue State. And I believe your plans are there, but it is very, very important for Benue State. So, Your Excellency, let me summarize by saying this. It is not all that we went that is rosy, very rosy picture. No, there are areas of challenges that I believe you need to look into, you know, very, very seriously. Let me give you just a small example. The Otobi water plant has only supplied water to like 75 houses in Otobo. The rest of the residents have not been able to connect the water. And so I was telling the Commissioner for Water Resources, Great, the food is cooked. But you know, if you don't serve the meat, it gets rotten and nobody will benefit from it. So now that the water plant is there, that problem was solved. And what the commissioner told us was that the connecting price for houses is between 15 and 25,000 naira. That was what he said. And I said, well, maybe, you know, when people cannot access a service, there is a practical problem. Either sensitization is not sufficient, or they are yet to be carried along. I was told that the House of Assembly has actually made a law that regulates those connecting prices. And I said, well, it's a good idea that the prices are not fixed by legislation. Prices must be fixed by the market and the reality. So what I suggested was that let the government follow the Chinese and Korean examples. When the Daewoo came in the 90s, it was so cheap And every Nigerian was ready to buy the whole racer car and the whole Explorer car. You know, Nigerians will like things that are cheap, but when the cost starts coming. So the Chinese, knowing that they could not compete with the Japanese and the Germans, the Koreans, they brought down the cost of their vehicles, and Nigerians rushed for them. But when the car cars started coming, they started crying. They said, this car we thought was very, very cheap. It's very expensive to maintain. They decided to take their money through spare parts so that they can meet the market entry. So for these connection prices, you may want to discuss with residents, bring down the cost of connection and take their money through monthly rates. You will still recover the money from them, whether they like it or not. But the reality is, every citizen should know that those services will collapse if you are not ready to pay for them. You must pay for your public water, you must pay for your NEPA, you must pay for every public service. Because if we don't pay, government will not have sufficient money to be able to run them, to be able to maintain them. And that is why everywhere we went, public facilities collapse. There are other reasons, but one of the reasons is that we grew used to not paying, even government was not paying for light and water. So I think we must pay, and citizens must be educated to understand that you have to pay for those services for the next generation to see them. But you need a lot of dialogue. That's why it's a democracy. Conversation between the people and the government will bring about a solution. Not problem and no solution, unless you have no patience. The people and their government must have patience, and I'm sure if that becomes the case, the problem will be solved. The other thing we saw was when we went to the commissioning of the medical school, we saw students that have been there for about 8-10 years, partly not their fault, because the medical facilities were not ready, so the school was not accredited by the Nigerian Dental and Medical Council. So now that the school is ready, I told the CMD and the university authorities, because that's not directly a problem, it's for them. They must work hard to get accreditation so that those awaiting doctors can graduate. You know, medical education is very expensive. If you stay there 1 year more than necessary, it costs a lot. The last issue I will raise is that of peace. In recent times, as Minister of Information, I'm aware that there has been problems between cattle rearers and farmers in some of your northmost communities. Those problems also replicating in Nasarawa State, and they are replicating in several states across north-central Nigeria. Now, anybody who does not understand the meaning of peace should visit Amatura and Meduguri now and see what is happening there, and see the anxiety of people. Or even go to Kano State, go to Kori Market, you will find that Kano, a commercial city, activities going on today have come down by more than 50%, and people are crying. That's why the people of Kano today are in the forefront of finding solutions for peace in Kano. Now, for North Central, we sit as the conference between the North and South. Any destabilization of peace in North Central will create greater problems for Nigeria, for national strategic national security and for development. I have already spoken to you in private. The need for everything to be done to arrest those problems before they blow out of proportion. As a former deputy governor in Nasarawa State and commissioner for information, I know how difficult it was for us in 2001 to bring the problems of the Tiv and other communities in our state to attention. Get the governor of Nasarawa State and all the other governors. They must sit down and find a solution before any crisis will fester in this area. This zone will be the zone of peace, progress, and development, so that Nigeria will move forward. Now, so yesterday when I came to play a course call, you also complain about federal presence, and I'm Minister of Information, so I will comment on you. And you are not the only one. Wherever we went to Niger, we had the same complaint. We went to Plateau, Governor Jan gave us the same complaint. And we're here now. We went to Kwara, the governor just said the same thing. And we're here, and you also complained there is need for more federal presence. Well, you see, that one I know is between you and your brother, the president. But as commissioner for, as minister, that's the same thing actually. As minister of information, let me say that this is my state, I'm from this zone. So the more the federal government can do projects here for selfish reasons, the better for me anyway. So I'll be very, very happy to have all the projects to come here. But I also know that as a member of the Federal Executive Council, it is not easy there for Mr. President. First of all, you know that this president is facing the greatest challenge any president has faced in Nigeria since in terms of the unnecessary crisis that has been unleashed, which is taking so much money on security. If we had that money deployed to agriculture, deployed to medical services and roads, this country will make greater progress. But at the level of the federal government, let me say that a lot of projects are going on in Benue. I'll mention a few that were visited for the information of your people. The first area the federal government is looking at is the area of power supply. Because in Nigeria today, everything comes down to power supply. You are a farmer, you are grinding your own tomatoes by the side, or even a barber, or a hair salon operator. You have to buy a generator. You have to go look for diesel. You have to maintain it. Because of that, economic activities have come down. So Mr. President has given priority to power. And because the problems are so many, we cannot address them at the same time. So the priority is on power. And in Benue State, sir, we went to the Apple substation here, which is very, very big. It is 75%, work has reached 75% completion stage. That power plant, 330 to 132 kVA, will supply power to Benue State, to Kogi State, to Taraba State, and to part of Nasarawa. We are connecting it with power from power plants coming from the south as well as from the north. It's an NIPP project, and it is aimed at strategic power supply that will change the current power supply equation in Benue State and these surrounding states. Even now, as I'm speaking to you, power has increased marginally. We are not talking about that because the 10 power plants Mr. President is building, 10 new power plants have not yet been fed onto the national grid. So this new transmission line and substation, which we are building all over the country, once we enter 2030, and some of the new power plants are commissioned, and we feed them onto the national grid, let me tell you that the power supply situation in Benue State will substantially improve. And that is very, very important for industry, for the economy of Benue State. Now, we are also doing quite a lot in the area of roads. Unfortunately, some bad roads continue to give us bad image. You know, not only in Benue State, but in a few places we are visited. I'll give you an example. The Otubo Enugu Nightmare Road. I went there yesterday, and if you saw what we saw there, everybody was unhappy. This road was awarded about 5 years ago to Bulletin construction company. They wasted 5 good years there. No substantial work was done. And the controller of works, you see here, controller of works, wait for your standing by for question from the master. Now, we were not happy, and we said so there. But luckily, Mr. Your Excellency, the contract has been revoked and re-awarded to Rock Bridge Construction Company. And we committed the contractor aside yesterday, and he said by 2014, right? Am I right? 2013, you know, that the road will be completed, that all the materials it needs are on site, all the equipment it needs are on site, and that we were just waiting for the rest to receive so that we will proceed and work on that road. Now we told you we'll be coming back here next year to see whether the road will be completed or not. So the contract has been awarded, and I'm appealing to the people of Benue State and Northeast, those who are using that road. Mr. President is committed to completing that road, and we are taking some money from the SHOP program to add to the Ministry of Works to ensure that some of these strategic roads are completed, so that citizens can feel comfort on our highways, particularly roads like this strategic one. The Oweto Road, which goes from Otoko down to Nasarawa, we saw substantial progress on the road, and it's a good quality road. The contractor has gone about 45% from the Otukpo end towards Oweto, and the bridge is also being constructed at Loco, and a lot of good work is going on here. Now we're extending that road, which will also link right down to Cross River border. We have awarded the one from Cross River right down to Benue State some 4 weeks ago. I made an announcement, and the contractors are right now mobilizing to site. Like I said, the director of the public works, Benue State, is here, and he will be giving you more details about some of those road efforts. Let me reassure the people of Benue State. Mr. President is concerned, we are all concerned about the state of those roads, and more money is being made available to the Federal Ministry of Works, and I'm sure that from this dry season, we expect more activity on those roads. We're also rehabilitating the Makodi Alede Otoko roads. Some sections of it have been rehabilitated, some other sections are still bad, but the controller told me that those sections already government is awarding them for rehabilitation through FEMA this dry season. So we expect work on that road also to be completed. Now, we also went to the University of Agriculture, and 5 projects were commissioned yesterday, 5 big projects. The College of Agronomy was commissioned with 4 modern labs at the College of Agriculture. We also have the completion of a feed mill that will produce poultry feeds. It was commissioned yesterday, also at the College of Agriculture. We also had 2 lecture theatres that were commissioned yesterday. One 1,000 capacity, another one 500 seating capacity. We also saw a computerized program for examination, which is a PPP project between the university and a private company. And it's very, very telling here. For what they have done, they have program examinations, computerized. Whether you are writing history or mathematics or English or any subject, the factor, the load your questions on the computer and the marking scheme. So as you are doing your exam, the computer is marking them. Immediately you finish, the marks are ready. So this question of lecturer, he didn't like my face, is going to disappear. It's going to disappear. And I was very happy with what I saw. So a lot of good things are happening. Now, there was also a bad project, federal project we saw, and we called the supervisor. And this is an example of why things don't work. The military, the Navy is building a health center here through the MDGs. We went there. First of all the equipment have been supplied. The Armed Forces Barrack Rehabilitation Committee, the Presidential Committee, is in charge of this project. Everything was supplied. But you know what? Those things are in stock. The center is not ready. So when I went to the store, I said, I'm going here to see the store. Where is the center? They said it was under construction. I said, I would like to see it. You know, this was not on the schedule. But sometimes you go to unexpected places, then you see the good story. So we went there, and we saw that what they put on ground there, which is in your commissioner quarters, within the premises of the commissioner quarters in Benue State, was structurally defective. So we saw it, we called the supervising architect, the site architect from the Ministry of Defense. And the story there, I don't want to repeat it, but the summary of it is that it was poor supervision that enabled a contractor to put in a structure that was defective and roofed it without the site architect stopping the job before we reached that stage. We went to the second building to eat. You could see roofs with cracks. And instead of reinforcing the cracks with pillars, the contractor rushed on the weekend and put a roof. When he saw that the roof would not be, the walls would not be able to bear the weight of the rafters, he started putting in some rafters, woodworks up to hold the rafters so that the building would not collapse. He was prepared to roof the building. Now, we are all Nigerians. Why is it that people get a job, get money, and are not prepared to do it? When you talk, we say it's government. Yes, government is responsible, particularly those who are supposed to supervise it. But what do you intentionally, on the federal side, on your own side, we share them with you like we're sharing now, and the people also have an opportunity to point out more that you may not have been able to see. let me congratulate you and your government for the good development initiatives you have put forward. And let me also call on the people of Benue State to stand up and do what is right in your communities for the development of this state. Thank you. God bless Benue State.